Welcome back to Technique WOD. This is video 3 out of 3 for training for core stability. In video 1, we talked about resisting hyperextension by contracting your abs and your glutes, and I gave a couple examples of how to do that. In video 2, we talked about training for lateral flexion, training to resist lateral flexion, anti-lateral flexion, and we also talked about training in single leg stance, which are very similar. Again, for more details on that, you can go to video 2 in this series. On video 3 here, we're going to talk about training for resisting rotation, anti-rotation. If you've seen Maximum Mobility or you've read a lot of stuff by Gray Cook or Mike Boyle, or you follow that joint by joint concept, you'll see that most joints have a need for either more mobility or more stability. Today we're talking mostly about core training and specifically around the low back. We're talking about stability. Again, stability means not moving in the presence of potential change. It means you're resisting motion. The joints above and below your low back, your hips and your thoracic spine, your upper back, are built to move, and you want to train them to have more mobility. I want to have lots of hip mobility. I want to have more thoracic extension and more thoracic rotation. If you're a person that has very tight hips and a very tight upper back, you're all rounded over, or you don't rotate very well, then training for core stability can actually help you help those mobilizations and those stretches that you're already doing for your hips and your low back. It can help those changes stick a little bit better. By providing more stability, your body is less likely to lay down stiffness above and below that stable joint. Okay? So your body's laying down stiffness as compensation for a lack of stability. So if you can build up more stability, you're more likely to stay mobile where you're supposed to be mobile. Okay? So the way that I like to train resisting rotation type movements, level 1, some people call this a Palloff press for John Palloff, who works for Mike Boyle, or at least he used to. I'm not sure if he still does, but he got this named after him at some point. Other people call it a tall, kneeling, anti-rotation press. You basically get a little tension on the band and you hold it right in front of you. It wants to rotate you, and you're resisting that rotation. So number 1, like to start here. I like to hold for about 30 seconds, and then obviously you would want to switch and do the same thing on the other side and press there. If you have bands, I like to hold the band just like this, my inside fingers, and then my hand right over the top of it, just like that. Okay? That seems to be the most comfortable for me. So if I'm facing this way, I'm grabbing here, and then I'm grabbing the band just like that, and then when I flip around the other side, same thing. I grab with my fingers, I grab the band, and then I grab over the top of it. People ask me that all the time. Okay, so tall kneeling is kind of the level 1. I also like to do inside leg down. Okay. So if I'm tall kneeling just like this, I would just step forward until I have a vertical shin, and then again, pull to my chest, and I would pull right here. Then also, I like to have the band above my hands, so another variation is to do it standing, but I usually raise the band. And then again, same thing. I can do a little bit of a, maybe like a 1/8 squat, knees out, good posture, and then I press the band right in front of me, hold that position, and then again, always on the other side. Whichever side tends to be the hardest is the side that I do first, and then I usually match the time on the other side. So if I can do a minute on one side, only 40 seconds on the other side, I do 40 seconds, and then I match the 40 seconds on the other side. I try to even up that strength imbalance or asymmetry. Okay. So that's kind of your level 1 anti-rotation movements. You're training all those muscles in your core, and you're also training all of your internal and external rotators of your hip. So this is a great way to do abs without looking like you're doing abs, if you're a person that likes to do abs. Okay. The other way that I like, very similar, is here. Side to side. I'm not really moving a whole lot at my shoulders or at my in my trunk. I'm not really rotating. I'm just getting a load off to the side and getting a load off to the other side. If you want to make that a little bit harder, you can add, if you have one of these fancy V handles, you can make that moment arm a little bit longer, which makes your leverage more poor, which makes it a lot harder. So I can't quite go as far, and I can't quite go as far on the other side too. I actually like that better. I like making it heavier by using the V handle because it makes your motion very small, side to side. If it's very light, then I go way over here and I'm more likely to chase the weight and rotate a lot instead of just doing a very small motion, staying very stable, and I'm not really getting a lot of motion. So I actually like having the V handle and making it harder on purpose to cut down on how much I'm moving. So that's another great option. Something a little bit more dynamic would be a full contact twist where I hold the end of the bar and I'm here. I want my hands to be behind me. Okay? The close part of the sleeve here is hitting me right on the thigh, and then I'm staying tall and I'm rotating at my hips. You see my shoulder and my hips are both facing this way, and I'm going to rotate all the way to the other side. Again, my shoulders and my hips are facing that way, and I rotate all the way back. Looks very similar to throwing something or hitting a baseball. Okay? You can see my back foot is up, both my feet are facing this way, and then both my feet spin, and they both face the other way. What happens very commonly is that people go like this, and they kind of go like that, and both my feet are facing the wall in front of me, and my hips face the wall in front of me, and my shoulders are twisted way over like this, and they're not getting all the way through. So we want to get all the motion from our hips, and have our lumbar spine, and just our spine in general rather, in a neutral position where I'm not rotated. That means my hips and my shoulders are facing the same direction. Here, here. And as you get more comfortable with it, you can start to go faster and faster and faster, and it turns into more athletic movement. So I'm here. Okay. And then, also, with that, you can add resistance and add the V handle, which makes it significantly harder. So I'm here. When I have the V handle, again, the entire handle will be behind me. I'll be standing tall, both feet facing one way, and then I'll have to contract hard, lift, my feet spin. Again, the bar comes down and hits me right around where the hash is, should hit me on the shin, and the handle should be behind me. I'm standing tall again, push my front foot hard to the ground, and come back the other way. And then really make sure to decelerate on the way down, or you're going to slam that bar into your shin. So a couple of variations that aren't in a lot of Metcons, but are great variations to throw in between your big lifts when you're doing your strength work specifically for anti-rotation. That's it.